So great to be here with TikTalk. We're here with Thomas Kolster. He's a purpose pioneer and the author of 2 books, Good Advertising and The Hero Trap, very popular books and pioneers in their own field. He's also the founder of Good Advertising Agency, and we were just having a chat backstage, and he just told me that he's been coming here to Cannes Lions for 24 years. So welcome.
Thank you. The grey hairs give that away as well, I think. But yeah, thank you so much. It's always lovely to be back.
How are you finding the festival so far?
Big, crazy, growing, exciting, inspiring, and confusing, I would say. But I think Cannes is what Cannes is. It's always ever evolving, but I'm excited about what I'm seeing so far.
Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this previously as well. You said that there's a new sustainability hub now. They're trying it out for the first time. If you can tell us a little bit about that and how you see the festival's approach to sustainability has evolved over the last few years.
I mean, been a quite vocal critic of the lack of responsibility and sustainability on the programming in general for years, and so it's just so great to see that Cannes is finally sort of more embracing that, not just on their awards where they have the Glass Lion, they have the Lions for Change. 7 years ago they did the Sustainable Development Goal Lions. I judged that the second year, I think. But also now integrating that more into programming. So you will actually see more climate programming, you will see more diversity and inclusion programming, which is great, which is important. And then, as you say, this year, the Sustainability Lions Hub, which is a fantastic new initiative. It's early days, but as with anything in sustainability, it does take time. It's a journey, but and we have an open house for good today, actually, between 2:30 and 4:30. Which was sort of co-initiated by me. I always thought that there's so many people who don't have the fancy, let's be honest, quite expensive passes, or this little thing here. And so we just thought, let's open up the Palais for those who don't have that. It's about sustainability, it needs to be inclusive. So that's happening today. So I'm very happy about that.
Brilliant. And you have your own session tomorrow around, it's called Kill 'em with Positivity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
damn,
tell us more about that. I mean, we hear so much about Gen Z's approach to life and how, how they view corporate culture as with a lot of skepticism. So, what exactly do you mean by positivity in that context?
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, for those who've been living under a rock, the world isn't really looking brighter these days. When even our poster girl of sort of climate action, Greta Thunberg, is now sort of going towards peace brokering rather than necessarily just focusing on climate, I do see that pivots are happening. There's so many things that's on the agenda. If you're a CMO, if you're an agency person, AI, creators, whatever you want to call them, and then somewhere down there on the list of sustainability. So obviously, it's tough. At the same time, to be honest, I think I have failed. I think the movement have failed just incredibly in terms of making this topic inspiring. Yeah. And so Kill Them with Positivity was just really a way of just infusing a bit of positivity and really showcasing to people that let's just avoid the word sustainability. It's about life, it's a bit about better living, it's about connecting to people, it's about eating better food, it's not about eating crap food full of sugar and all that stuff. So that's what I want to try and do. I want to try and create a fun little session that shows that progress is possible and you can actually do positive activism as well. So that's what I'm focusing on in that session. It should be super fun.
To circle back to the kind of the change of tone that we see, I mean, I haven't been coming here for 24 years, but the first time I came here was, I think, 2017 or 2018, where sustainability discussions in general, values-driven content was living through its peak. But now we kind of see that take, it's more going on behind the scenes. But I'm just wondering how you see when you have conversations with CEOs or CMOs that you're consulting with. Do you see a difference in how they approach sustainability, whether that's within their own business practices or within their marketing practices?
I think dealing with this topic anyways is just, there's a lot of headwinds all the time. It's kind of like jumping out in bungee jump. There's a lot of downward stuff, very few upwards kind of movements. So you need to have a lot of patience advocating for change in general. Yeah, there are some political changes that we are seeing happening. The thing about marketing and advertising and CMOs as well is our industry is so incredibly short-term focused. We also do see that with business in general in these very volatile days. It's very difficult to do change in the short term. So these two things really is at a contrast. That being said, though, I believe that to build long-living brands that people really do love, that's for the long term. You can't build a brand within 1, 2, 3 years. You need to invest over time. And so the CMOs who get this keep on track, keep pushing, and there are good things happening. The UN, United Nations Global Compact, which is a membership organization, they're launching their CMO blueprint, supporting CMOs on that journey with sort of 5 critical steps. So things are moving in the right direction. So again, lots to be optimistic about. And I think sometimes for me, when you meet resistance, that might actually just be a sign that an old system is fighting its last little battle. And yeah, we are facing a lot of white old men in power that wants to jump into a time machine and take us back to a time where diversity didn't exist, where renewable energy wasn't cheaper than fossil fuels. It's not possible. So I'm hopeful. I think this will eventually be overcome, and that's also why I'm quite an optimist. You have to be.
And to go back on, I guess I'm going to call it the decline of visibility of sustainability in marketing. Work data shows that environmental themed work has plateaued since 2021. Sorry. What do you think is the reason behind that, or what do you think? Like, is that kind of work not being applied or entered, or is it like a jury thing? Like, what do you think is the reason?
I think it's a myth, to be honest. I mean, we did a piece of research that was out in May with WARC, which is the sort of effectiveness experts in the space, and they every year do this called the WARC Global 100, looking at the 100 most effective advertising globally. It's super interesting. And so last year what we did, we said, what happens if we take a look at those winning super effective campaigns with an environmental lens, with a social lens? The really fascinating thing was that over that 10-year period, I would have expected more sort of like a sort of upward surge, and then, as you're saying, sort of the idea that I would have in mind, probably a little bit of a dip. What we saw was a pretty sort of straight curve. 30% of that work globally has something to do with social and environmental campaigns, and that has a very, very clear answer, which is that stuff is just more emotional. We know emotional advertising works. When you talk about women empowerment, when you talk about race, when you talk about climate, these are emotional topics, and they're much more emotional than talking about a hygiene pad with new wings that adds danceability or something like that. So I think it's a myth. I think we do see this work still being there. Are there some market shifts? Yes. In the US, we do see more brands being silent, but let's be real. 400 million people out of 9 billion people. So it's like a drop in the ocean. Who cares?
Who cares about the US market?
Exactly.
Very controversial. The Series Festival is packed with AI showcases. We hear a lot about human-centered AI. A lot of the conversations end up at AI at some point. How do you see generative AI feeding or undermining the authenticity of purpose-driven storytelling?
I don't know how you respond to sort of like an automated, audio-generated Valentine's letter from your boyfriend. I'm not sure you'd recognize that and applaud that as much. I think, to be honest, this comes down to human emotions. If we really want to create a nice emotive response, if we want to create a relationship, that takes investment. And I think a lot of the big legacy brands that we're seeing today, why they're not very great at this is that the challenger brands, what they're recognizing is that I'm there. You can talk to me, reach out. You have a better idea about the color of your t-shirt? Write me. You feel there's a human behind. And do legacy business want to automate all of these things? Maybe they can get away with it. But I think wholeheartedly, if you want to build big, meaningful brands, you need to show a bit of human investment and show I actually do care. So I go this extra step forward. And I think we see that in retail as well. When you have a brand like Aesop, that still in a time where retail is sort of challenging, they still say, we believe in this, we want to have a footprint, we want to have people come into our store and try the product, talk to people, and I think that's still valuable.
So where do you think these AI tools can help in terms of the storytelling and the campaigns?
I mean, they're super helpful in so many ways, I think. But let's not forget that that's just been the development of the creative industry over the last many years. I mean, my first show reel was on a beta cam. And so I think we're just empowering more people. What it will do to my field, though, and to a lot of the brands out there that probably haven't gotten this wake-up call, is that obviously all of us are the biggest content producers, and it's very, very easy for us, if we're vocal about something, to challenge these big legacy businesses. So brand has become really, truly the Achilles heel of those types of operations. So obviously they need to clean up the act and be much more clever about it. So I think it democratizes media. It really challenges us in the industry to be better storytellers, which I think is my main concern, is that in all my years in the industry, I've seen craft going downhill. I think what I'm seeing now, which used to be my like pure love, was to sit in the Cannes Lions cinema and watch amazing cinematic storytelling. And I think even there we're losing out. So isn't it interesting that we have all these tools in our hands, yet it doesn't seem to make us better creatives. It doesn't seem to make us better storytellers. So it's probably a challenge to the industry to say, yes, these are just tools, but it comes back to us using them better, and we haven't been capable of that so far.
I do think about this sometimes, only in the context of like movies and like film that I see. I wonder where the storytelling has gone, and I think to me it comes down to talent being like sidetracked, or I guess we're losing the talent that we used to have. I don't know if you have any opinions on that. To me, the perspective through which I think about it is the writing. I think we're losing the good writers to different industries.
I mean, to be honest, everybody talks about data, right? And all these things that they know about us and how they can then create better storytelling. I mean, Hollywood has been trying it. They have been trying to create data-driven films rather than, for example, script-based films. They look at the data, they try to kind of create something out of it. I don't think, at least, let's also be honest, we're still not at development with AI yet where that is possible. 3 to 5 years ahead, that might be possible. But I still think, as you say, what is the pivotal thing about it? It's boldness. I mean, creative industry is about bold ideas that really dare to differentiate themselves. And that's the same with amazing story and filmmaking. You need to be bold enough to do this stuff. And I think that's also where, in my field, when you have brands that dare to take a stance, when you have brands that dare to push out there with advocacy, this is really where you just cut through that media clutter. And so there's still a lot of amazing opportunities for brands who dare to be bold. And to be honest, 99% of marketeers aren't bold, 99% of brands aren't bold. And it's sad, because I think if you don't dare to be bold, you might as well just go work in a bank.
Absolutely. To go back to the AI conversation, I mean, the AI tools that are already available, like they make a lot of the processes a lot easier. They democratize access and creativity and help with storytelling of various aspects within campaign creation as well. But they come with a massive environmental impact. So I'm just wondering if you have any advice to creatives and marketings around how they can navigate or balance the environmental impact of using AI tools.
I mean, it's an amazing, tough challenge, right? I think we are seeing big tech having had quite ambitious targets on, for example, climate. Microsoft being one of them, that obviously already in 2050 said that not only would they clean up all the mess that they did, but they would start being regenerative. So they actually start sucking more carbon down than emitting. Obviously, I guess technology gives us some surprises sometimes. It is tough because we would need a lot more development in renewable energy. There will be more pressure on fossil fuels. I mean, maybe some people in the news have read that Musk have did this big data center and hasn't been able to power that fully on renewables. So got generators outside pumping diesel. It's heartbreaking. So I think, as with anything else we faced with an industry, it will be a journey. I think if we put our acts together, I think we can solve this, but it's not an easy task.
Turkish brands, taking it back to our market, often struggle to globalize their purpose stories. Across your good advertising work in 80 countries, what kind of skills or muscles do you think should be built first in order to scale a business globally?
I think there's always this conversation about local, global, and I think we see these changes all the time. It tends to be that in times of uncertainty, people tend to prioritize a bit more local brands, but big brands, because that gives them a sense of safety, security, familiarity. It is tough. I think it comes back to great storytelling. When you have folks like Disney, if you have, like we had Peter Jackson on stage, was it yesterday? I mean, who doesn't like the Tolkien franchise? Do I think whether it's Turkish or Australian or American, I don't really care. I think human stories are well told, are universal. They don't carry sort of a flag. And I think we need to sometimes forget that and actually say, let's tell some amazing universal stories. And this is where sustainability is just an amazing treasure chest, because it's about, it's about life, it's about all these things that we all faced as human beings, as citizens. And I think if that's the core of your storytelling, I think you'll do very, very well.
Mm-hmm. And a final question. You've been so busy at Cannes Lions, doing a lot of live sessions and going into meetings, and also going to the festival curated sessions. From everything that you've seen and you've heard so far, what's one insight or emerging trend that you think every marketer should be aware of and should start thinking of adopting, maybe?
I think as an industry, we are terrible at leading. We most of the times just mirror society. So what's out there, what's trending on TikTok, whatever. Let's try and do more of that. I think one of the more mature conversations I'm hearing now at Cannes is maybe we need to lead. Maybe, as Hollywood have done, maybe we need to figure out what we want to do with AI. Maybe we need to figure out what we want to do with sustainability. Maybe we start collaborating brands together, maybe media together, to create that change needed. Because what's happening right now is more and more people in this industry is becoming anxious. They don't know if there's a role for them going forward. And I think this is not a time where we should shake our pants and just kind of do what we always do, really sort of nothing and just waiting to see what happens. I think we actually need to get our damn act together and say, this is how we view the world. Advertising is a tool. We're an industry. We can actually decide how that industry evolves instead of just taking the back seat and just see the shit unfold. So I think that's my little pet conversation at the moment that I'm finally like hearing more and more people talk about.
Mm-hmm. Marketers should start to lead, you're saying?
Absolutely. We all should start to lead, not just the marketeers. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for the invite.
Thanks for your time, and lovely to be here with you today.
Likewise.
Thank you.